Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Shuffle, your host for our Journey Success Stories podcast. Today, I am with Craig Townsend. He is the president of US Playing Card, which is a division of Cardamundi. So, Craig, thank you so much for being here today.
Jennifer, I'm very honored that you reached out to me, and I'm excited to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. And thank you for accepting. So today we will be talking about, of course, US Playing Card Company and the journey that Craig took to become the president of United States Playing Card. And of course, challenges along the way, because that's part of the journey, as well as best practices that they have. And of course, we'll really get a peek into how they're building and operating because it's a really great, cool story. So, if this is your first time to the show, of course, make sure that you like and subscribe because we want you to get notifications every time a show drops and have great conversations just like this one. So, Craig, of course, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here and taking the time to be with us today. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you, your background, and of course, United States Playing Card Company.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the time. I have had a long and I would like to think storied career. I am Canadian by birth. I've lived in the UK and I immigrated to the United States back in 2013. So now I'm a dual citizen. So I'm Canadian and American, but I'm very proudly an American citizen for the last 5 years. My journey has really started back in the late 1990s with Woolworth Corporation, which is a very famous and storied company. They are now Foot Locker Corp, which is now owned by Dick's. So I worked in their management training program. I worked my way up from operations through to a buyer of Foot Locker in Canada. I was a shoe buyer. So, exciting times, always very consumer facing. I consider myself a true merchant. And that gave me the opportunity to explore the world and to really understand consumer consumer behavior, and how the world really worked together on this globalization type of scale. So going from Foot Locker, I got recruited to go to Hudson's Bay Company, which is the oldest company in North America. I was a buyer for them as well. Then went and had a chance to work for Nike, which again, amazing company. And then was finally
Yes.
recruited to work for an international footwear company, which took me through the next 13 years of my career before another company here in Ohio that was RG Berry Corporation, and finally leading me to a former boss of mine from that company recruiting me into Cardamundi. So I didn't expect to end up in the card business. Definitely what I've learned is that as long as you truly value and understand consumers, categories themselves are all so interesting. It's all about family. It's all about understanding consumer behaviors and delivering true value to consumers. And my journey along the way, even though it's been mostly in footwear and apparel, now I find that it's a natural fit for me. I love being in the entertainment space, which we kind of call the card business that I'm in, and just excited to be part of such an historic organization.
That is so cool. I love that you've totally transitioned, though, from footwear and going into the card industry. So tell me a little bit about that transition going from one to the other.
I think that when I was approached by my former boss from RG Berry, and she had been moving into a corporate role or a global role for Cardamundi and asked me to backfill her role here at the United States Playing Card Company, I was a little concerned. I thought, my gosh, I don't really know the card business. And a huge part of what we do is also servicing all the great casino operators across North America and around the world. So we not only are involved in our retail business with the Bicycle brand and Hoyle and several others, but the B brand is the premier brand across all of the gaming operators. So any casino you go to, there's a good chance you're going to find our cards. So I think that I was a little bit hesitant at first because I thought, what do I know about the casino business other than playing poker with my buddies and euchre with my family? And I got into it after long discussions, both with my former boss and then future boss and our CEO, Stefan Marks. And I just love the fact that this company, Cardamundi, is so involved in driving the culture of card play. And it truly is such a consumer centric organization that I felt like it was a natural fit for me. It didn't really feel like it was a category I had to learn because if you really truly understand consumers and their behaviors, those behaviors, you know, permeate across all categories of products. And I think the one great thing about United States Playing Card Company and Cardamundi is that we are delivering experience every day and around the world. And it's such positive experience. I got to tell you, I just love it.
That is so cool. And you're absolutely correct. If you're consumer centric and focused, it doesn't matter whether you're putting shoes on your feet like Nike or dealing the cards, like you have to be very conscientious of who's going to end up with that product at the end of the day. So let's dive into a little bit of how big is United States playing card because I don't know if people really realize because here in the Cincinnati metropolitan area, we have Factory 52, but that's the old, original, really cool, full of history. But how big and vast you guys really got. Share with us some of that.
Well, I'll tell you, we actually hit a milestone in 2024, producing over 100 million decks here,
Wow.
right in Erlanger, Kentucky. So we were in Factory 52 on the Cincinnati side. Cincinnati, Erlanger, just miles apart from each other. We actually outgrew the factory in Norwood. We were there for 109 years, and it was a beautiful place and such an historic
Gorgeous.
space.
Yes.
And it still exists today. People can go visit it. We just had an event there, and I would recommend people do that. But I will tell you, we just had to grow. We needed more space. So we're doing over 100 million decks a year here, right in North America. But as part of Cardamundi as a whole, though, we've actually got 14 factories around the world. We produce local for local solutions in every continent. But we're really one company and one team. So again, where I'm absolutely just thrilled and proud to be part of the unique history and heritage of USPCC. We really do operate on a global scale. So as big as we are, it is, we touch with our products every continent, and Bicycle is actually the fastest growing consumer brand in the world.
Wow.
Even though we touch that and
Yeah.
touch everything, the great thing is we're part of a global community, which I love as well. So we're definitely have a force multiplier with the great international scope of the organization.
Yeah. Well, and share with us some of those brands that you guys have. You had mentioned Bicycle, but share some of the additional ones because I know people are going to know them.
Right. Well, the great thing is that United States Playing Card Company, back when we were founded in 1881, actually started to acquire Russell and Morgan, who are our founders, other companies around North America, and eventually also acquired Fournier, which is now in Spain. We grew and grew and added all these great brands on, including the Fournier brand, Aristocrat, Aviator, Hoyle, Chem. It really goes on and on. We've got a ton of great historical brands. Congress. The great thing is as Cardamundi really decided as this eighth generation Belgian, there's two families that really wanted to bring the card industry together. And the one thing they couldn't do was they couldn't compete with the strength of the United States Playing Card Company. So they actually bought us. And which is great because it's actually been a wonderful thing for us because we've really invested. And I know I'm kind of getting off topic of the brands you're asking
No, I
about,
love this.
but the fact is that they really wanted to bring this historic industry that's been around since at least the 12th century, but maybe older. We here now have all of the best brands in the world. So we've added on from Latin America the brand of Copeg, which is the World Series of Poker brand. Beautiful, makes the best poker cards in the world. We've added on other brands, Black Box and such, from our acquisition in India from a company called Parksons. I would say that there is a lot of other kind of local heart brands that we also promote as well. We've got actually, sorry, I didn't mention this, the Grimaud brand. So Grimaud is the second oldest brand in the world, and actually older than Bicycle. Uh,
Wow.
it second oldest brand that still exists, and we actually have that as part of our portfolio. The cards are made in Paris. It was the first company to actually put the rounded corners on decks of cards, so it was really
Wow.
part of the innovation process. So again, every point in the history of playing cards, we have a brand that represents the very best of both culture and evolution and innovation as it relates to playing cards. So really, good chance if you find a great brand of cards out there that you truly love, it's either our brand or we may be producing it for them.
Private label. Love private label. We did a lot of that when I was at General Cable back in the day, and I know that we still do at Prismian. So I know that we went through a little bit of the history, which I intentionally did, by the way, because I know that you love history. And so I knew that your passion would really exude as you were talking about it. But tell me, how many employees do you guys actually have there at that facility there in Erlanger?
So we have just under 300 personnel in our manufacturing. We run three shifts during the week, and then we run two shifts on the weekends. So we are a 7 day week operation, and we're doing that because we're trying to keep up with the market. We continually grow every year, and I think that one thing that we've discovered is even though the traditional playing card industry is not necessarily growing in vast numbers
Yeah.
on a year over year basis, I think how we're telling our story and what's happening with how consumer behaviors all around people getting together, it's allowing us to continually see that market share growth. We've got about 100 administrative staff. And again, we are a local operation, but we also employ quite a few remote employees as well because we're always about best in class. So we go where the talent is. Of course, the talent has to be here in manufacturing, but from an administration side, executive side, we've pulled people from around the country. And as part of Cartamundi, it's thousands of employees, and we have people that work with our team on a daily basis around the world.
And of course, you're going to be here within the Cincinnati metropolitan area because we have the best people.
Absolutely the best people here. No, again, we do appreciate it. I love Cincinnati. I moved here a couple of years ago to join
Yeah.
Cartamundi and USPCC. It's such a beautiful city, and the Midwest is absolutely wonderful. And I feel like, you know, both a proud Cincinnatian, because that's where I live from a residence perspective, but our
Yep.
facility is in Erlanger, Kentucky, and I really feel like a proud Kentuckian as well. So, I feel like I'm locked into the best of both worlds, two great states, and
Mhm.
just wonderful people, yeah, all around.
It is a really remarkable spot here in the Midwest. And
It
I
really
don't think it
is.
gets near the recognition that it really should. So tell me, where do you guys see the business 5 years from now? So you've arrived, and what does it kind of look like?
I think that the reality of USPCC was that we had a lot of different owners, between the late 90s and 2019 when Cartamundi bought USPCC. And they were all great companies, but they weren't necessarily in the entertainment business. They weren't in the card business. It was just one of the many divisions. So there wasn't a lot of investment. Cartamundi has brought so much investment to this facility and to the evolution of card play that I think we're accelerating again. I think for about 20 years there, we were definitely producing the best quality cards anywhere in the world, right here in North America, right here in Kentucky and in Ohio. But um, we really hadn't flexed our storytelling. We hadn't talked to the rich history that not only card play has had for the last 800 to 1,000 years in culture, but what USPCC has done in culture. And it's a very interesting story. And if you get me talking about history and our history, you'll have me for 3 more hours, and that won't be enough. But I would say that we're definitely looking at substantial growth over the next 5 years because we know that we're really investing and being invested in to really do that rich storytelling and really bring the collectors back to really develop not only um, things that we've done in the past so well and bring those stories
Hmm.
to the consumer, but really investing in play. The one thing that we didn't do maybe a great job in, and the one story I will have for you, which I find interesting, but I call it the pizza chicken story, because it's my own story. But everyone I talk to, when I say, when did you first learn how to play cards? They'll always say, typically, my grandparents or my aunt and uncle, but it's always family play. And every family has a story. But I think a lot of more recent generations got very digitally inclined and started to kind of skip some of these family gatherings and events. And I think that we all so much crave for this. One thing COVID did so well was they brought the family back
Yes.
together. One thing Cardamundi also does is we produce board games for the likes of the Hasbros and the Mattels. So we do Monopoly and a bunch of other games.
Cool.
We also do trading card games around the world like Pokemon and Lorcana, Magic the Gathering. So I think that as we really started to understand our place in consumer behavior, we realized that there was a knowledge gap. People were forgetting how to play these great games that have been around for, in some cases, hundreds of years. And every family has their game, and every region has games that typically are a little bit more cemented in that kind of culture.
Yeah.
We need to tell that story. We need to make card play a solution again for family entertainment. When I look at all of the market data and we just analyze it every month, we see spikes at Super Bowl, Memorial Day, 4th of July, sorry, Easter, Thanksgiving, Halloween, the winter holidays like Christmas. And I think what we realize is when families get together and when friends get together, they play cards, but we've got to do a better job of making that easy for them. And I think by doing that, to answer your question, we see that once we start to really tell those stories again, we are doing
Mm.
well. This is the largest we've ever been, but there's so much more. There's something like 60% of the market who still doesn't play cards on a regular basis. And
Huh.
that's a lot of market to grow into.
Yeah, that's interesting. So one of the things that I have noticed is, and this could be just an anomaly for our family, but our younger generation love to play cards. Like they are always asking us to come over and play. It's a very interesting dynamic. And yes, they all have a phone.
Yeah.
And yes, they can do the digital thing, but something about feeling the card, they really love that. And of course, the sound.
Yes, I will tell you, I keep a dozen decks on my desk, and I've always got cards around. Um, we've got the nice air cushion finish. These are our rider back cards. There's our bicycle brand.
Yes.
There is something about that physical experience, but
Hmm.
not only just the physical experience of the cards themselves, and this is by far the best quality card in the world, but also that family experience, right? The friend experience of being together, being able to play. I think we've learned in this Zoom culture that we try to be polite. So we'll have meetings and we'll have conversations, and I'll speak, and then I'll pause, and then you'll speak, and then you'll pause. When people get together, that's when the magic really happens, right? When people really are able to have strong conversations that end at a very different place. And the great thing about cards is that when people get together, cards becomes a vehicle for fun, excitement, entertainment, but it doesn't eliminate conversation. And that's what we want to do, is ensure that we're really a part of fostering conversation and community and bringing different people together that may not seemingly have a lot of commonalities at the beginning. You get the odd uncle and the young niece together at a family event, and maybe they don't really relate on some of the cultural things, on music, or they don't really relate on what they're streaming on TV. But you get them playing cards together, they're going to find that commonality. They're going to find that fun, and that's what we want to do. Is there's fun in every hand, right? And I think that we want to continue to share that and make it as easy as possible.
I love that. Fun in every hand. And yes, it does. It brings people together. And even when you clash and you have that disruptive moment, you come out on the other side very strong. And it's a very interesting dynamic.
I used to, both my grandmothers loved playing cards, and they're the ones that taught me. That's where I referenced that pizza chicken story. We used to go to my grandmother's house, and she would always make a chicken breast with tomato sauce and cheese on it. We called it pizza chicken. So we'd eat our pizza chicken and we play gin rummy. But so that became the kind of known around this office when I started talking about my origins of card play with the team here, the pizza chicken story. So if you ask anybody here, most likely to be able to tell you what that is about. So I think everyone has their pizza chicken story, but I really love just the idea that these moments that we build and these memories that we have are so rich and rewarding. It's not just about fun. Yes, I'm very competitive, like I'm sure a lot of us are when we play games, but it's always fun. I wouldn't let my grandmothers win, but they always wanted to play with me because I didn't give them a pass either. They knew that we were all competing. They were great at what they did. I didn't
Yes.
always win, but I always made sure I gave it all my effort. But at the end of the day, it always, left us with a hug and a kiss. And I've got all these wonderful memories of both my grandmothers who have now passed because of those experiences. And I think about that all the time. Every game I've played, it's not about the presents I received. It's not about
Mm,
um, maybe the events we were at. It's really about those smiles, that the time we had, the laughs, the competitiveness. I mean, my gosh, it's such a nostalgic moment for me, but really it's always founded on love. And even when I played poker with my friends, we got together when I lived in St. Louis,
yes.
Missouri, every month, and we get together to play poker. It was competitive, but it was really about the laughing.
I love that. So, yes, we have a game, it's called Farkle, that my mother-in-law loves to play, and she had to teach all of us because I had never heard of it before. And now when the kids and everybody gets together, it's okay, grandma, let's go. And they do. And they're all so competitive. And it's so hilarious to listen to them talk and banter back and forth as they're playing. I just love to just sit there and have a drink in my hand. It's entertainment myself, just sitting back and watching them just play. It's so cool.
Furkle?
Farkle.
Farkle. Okay, so you're gonna have to teach me that
Yeah.
game.
See?
I Yeah, and again, I'm learning new games. Like I think I know a lot about games, but I would say that at least once a week, someone trumps me with a game that I've
Yeah.
never heard of before.
Never had heard of it until she started talking about it. So, you had mentioned that your biggest challenge is bringing back the stories. So, how are you guys making that a top priority at this point to make sure that that challenge gets addressed?
We have a world-class marketing team here.
Mm,
And again, for us, you talk about challenges. One of the challenges has always been as well, do you have the right people in your organization?
absolutely.
Do they really truly, like we want to, understand the consumer and can deliver solutions, right? And deliver experience. So it starts with the people, but really what we're going to focus on and what we've been focusing on is the not only just the storytelling and the reminding people of the rich experience it delivers. There's a lot of people already know that and do it every week, right? But then there's a lot who may have not grown up with that. We want to add the education to it so that they understand that it is a solution for fun, right? Family game night, party night, celebration night. So we're really focusing on when people get together. Solitaire is still one of the biggest games played out there. We know that,
Yes.
but there's even multiplayer solitaire called Nerds, and we do that as well. So I think it's about telling stories where you can have a very rich and rewarding pastime of playing cards, even if it's individual play. But we're really trying to showcase and explain to them how to bring those moments together, how to become the perfect host for your party night, your family night, how to ensure that you've got the tools so when the grandparents come over, there's something they can do with the grandkids that brings those generations together and something they can both enjoy and celebrate, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of grandparents are going to be out there playing, Halo with their grandkids, but I can tell you, Go Fish, Crazy Eights, there's a lot of great ways that they can play and entertain and build those memories. And again, we just really want to make sure that people understand that that's a great solution for community.
Absolutely. Well, and I love that you tapped on community because, especially after COVID, that is a huge piece that everybody is really wanting to tap into. And even at Action Coach, we get all of our clients together at least on a quarterly basis, which we have ours tomorrow. And I'm so excited just to get everyone together. And so having that community is something that's so cool that you guys are really trying to thrive and pull together.
We actually just promoted one of our teammates to community marketing manager. It's a brand new position. Her name is Maria McLean. She is like a local um, celebrity now because she has been working with, like before even this role, with the colleges and universities, with different businesses in the area. She started a college euchre championships. We've got 6 colleges now, including University of Cincinnati. So there was an event that they had there. It started with their engineering department, and they reached out to us, and she organized it. We had 250 students come, 250
Wow.
for a euchre tournament from both UC and Xavier. And it was such an amazing time. I went there myself. It was on a Sunday, and just to see all the students and how excited they were to come in and play. And now she's organized this tournament across. We've got University of Michigan. We've got about, I think, about 6 or 7 colleges now that are all taking part in this. And what they're doing is that the winners of that went on to the World Series of Euchre Championships. So we're building this framework up, but again, it's about that community, right? And knowing that it's not
Yeah.
just, you know, bridge being played, even though it's an amazing game that we want to bring back, but it's really about, there are a million ways and games we're involved with the World Series of Spades as well, and trying to bring whatever your game is in those communities together and helping them build community also.
That is so cool. I can even imagine like this growing to where you guys even host like community events where the public even just comes and plays and has fun.
Yeah,
So,
we just had our Cartopia event at Factory 52 last Saturday.
yeah.
We celebrated Bicycle's 140th anniversary there. But Cartopia is really just the love of everything cards. We had collectors, we had magicians, we had performance artists, we had social players, we had a poker table set up, we had a euchre tournament there. It was a really, really great event, and it was outdoors on that historic campus.
Yeah.
We had tours of the facility, but that was truly a unique and exciting community event right here in Cincinnati. And we plan to continue to do that. And we plan to continue to develop more of these, pop-up events. We were involved in the Blink Festival. We brought a famous magician in named Anna de Guzman as well for that event. That happens here, if you know what the Blink Festival
I
is.
do. I love Blink.
But we are getting a lot more involved now, not only with our community as a whole, but even with the other business leaders in our community. So we've got some partnerships going with a few different people, including the likes of New Riff Bourbon, who is a Newport uh,
Yes.
organization, famous and building just some of the greatest bourbon out there. So we're going to continue to really develop our community, but the community of community as well.
Yes. I love that so much because it is a big piece of a Midwestern city. And I think that'll be really cool to have. So I have some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Awesome. So, what is the key to success for you?
I would say that for me, the key to success has always actually been people, right? Building award winning teams.
Yeah,
But a part of how you do that is not only the skill that those people deliver to the organization, but the character and the culture that they help develop. Right now, I've got several of our key leaders that I've brought in from other places that I've
yeah,
worked with in the past. And I think that that is because when you find people that you truly know will deliver, they came from industries like footwear and apparel as well. But I brought several of them in because, again, it's about consumers. And I think that really, truly, again, identifying that it's about people who care about people, that's how you win.
absolutely. Totally agree. So, what is one piece of advice that you would give to other business leaders?
Always start with the end goal in mind. So for us, I mean, I know that it seems like, of course, right? That's something that we'd all want to do. Having that strategic vision that ties back to not only where consumers are, but where consumers are going, right? Understanding that journey and deciding what role you want to play in that journey and what that looks like 5 years out, and identifying that goal and then working backwards. And then also knowing along the way, no matter what plan you put in place, you're going to have to be very um, adaptive, right? You're going to have to be able to be um, uh, able to move with the consumer journey a little bit and ensure that you are responsive to shifts in culture and shifts in the marketplace. Definitely setting those goals, but also knowing that where you have to maintain that goal in mind, the ultimate goal, you have to be adaptable on the planning along the way.
Yes. That is the number one thing that we always start with is what is your finish date? What does it look like? So that then you're really starting to think about, okay, I'm selling it, I'm duplicating it, or whatever for that individual. So, what is a book or podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
Well, from a podcast perspective, I think it's your podcast from now on. This is my
Why,
first
thank you.
one, but I'm sure that I'll start to join these. Book wise, it's interesting. So I love leadership books, but I really don't read a lot of them. Part of what I've always felt is that I've been surrounded by great leaders. I often think about what I do in the office and how
Yes.
people perceive what we're doing, and are we on the same team? And I just felt naturally that um, really having those great teams allows us to kind of formulate strategy and allows us to say and be good leaders and make sure we're serving those who serve us. So I have to admit, it's kind of a guilty pleasure, but um, I love to go home and read for myself. So some of the things I've read, I just reread Band of Brothers by Stephen Ambrose. I'm a big history guy, and I think that may have come out in our conversation before, but I've read all of Ambrose's books. He's a former historian, was the Eisenhower Museum curator, as well as
Mm,
then Band of Brothers is such a great series, and we have so much, um, you know, interaction with the U.S. government, with the history of some of the major conflicts. We've really been part of the military and helping serve those who serve us. So I would say that I've always been interested there, and that makes this a natural fit as well. But reading that book and really understanding the journey that you know we were on as a nation, that the world was on, and again the roles that were played in that and the events, I find really interesting. My guilty pleasure might be Tom Clancy. I just reread one of his books, and again, for some reason, when I find books I like to reread them. But
yeah.
I just reread a book of his called Without Remorse, and again, a great story of like, uh, you know, challenge, loss, redemption, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Evolution, and that was a great book. And then I like to think ahead. So Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, right, which was a big motion picture. Uh,
Yes.
I just read a book of his called Project Hail Mary. So I've always read a lot of science fiction as well, and for me, it's because it inspires me to think about the future. So again, it's kind of like I'm kind of like reading books that remind me or inform me of the past, keep me entertained in the now, but then also entertain me and keep my vision looking forward for the future.
That's so cool. Well, and even though they're fiction, it really makes you think outside of the box too. So it will truly make you more creative as you're going through the things in your day to day.
Absolutely. No, I think the authors that I choose and the things that I learn, even when they are fiction. I mean, Ambrose is not, the other two authors are, but it's fiction without well founded in real events and real politics and real technology. And one of the things my dad always told me is the great thing about the human species is if we can conceive of it, one day we'll develop it. So I remember when I was in university, I got this period where I was reading Robert Heinlein books, and this guy wrote his novels in the 50s. He was a scientist, and a lot of the technology he talks about, including AI, is what we're actually is the biggest topic of today. So it does quite often fact follows fiction.
Isn't that interesting? Love that. So here's a fun question for you. If you could take a little bit of magic dust and sprinkle it on a particular spot in the business, what would it be?
Wow, that's a big question. Magic dust. It's again, we are the magician's first choice when it comes to cards. So I love
There
anything
you
that
go.
goes along with magic. I would say that the magic dust would be again the storytelling, like ensuring that we could get to
Mhm.
more people, get that story up more, make it easier for people to really connect with each other. and to be able to show them how to do that. So we're working on it on a daily basis, but we've got a long way to go here. We really have to make sure that in the snackable moments that consumers are looking for now, those 3 to 5 seconds, that we can tell enough of a story to get them interested, to get them like understandable of what solutions experience we can deliver with our products, but but do it in a way that they can ingest it, digest it now, right? Because that's always the trick, right? Is those, I think we all have a lot coming at us. So how do you do that in a way where it's entertaining, interesting, but quick and digestible?
Well, in 3 to 5 seconds, that's a hard case to sell for sure.
It is. Social media is a wonderful vehicle for that, but I think you're going to find that we'll be using a lot more QR codes at retail on our products to allow
Yes.
people to come back to our website, to go to YouTube, to go to the places where we can tell those stories on their time, at their pace. But again, we got to get that word out there and make sure that that again we're delivering a solution to the experience for them.
So that was a great segue into my next piece because before we get to the final question, please share with our audience how they can follow you, learn more, and really get to know US Playing Card.
Well, again, again, I would say that following us on our Instagram and our Facebook on bicycle cards is a great way to kind of get some updates on what's happening. We've got our website, bicyclecards.com, and they can come and see us there. We really are like everywhere, right? If it's the availability of our cards exists at every channel of retail, it's all over e-commerce, absolutely. So there should never be a place where you can't find our cards.
Mhm.
Please follow us on social media. We're going to keep telling these stories and giving more insight and information. I think that's going to be the best place that we reach out. That being said, on those websites, we're also going to tell you where we're going to show up next, physically show up. So we had this Cartopia event. We're already planning our next event that may happen again at Factory 52 this fall. So more to come.
Maybe.
But again, I'm cooking something up right now that should be really exciting. But we definitely will be at those College World Series tours of Euchre and other events. And please, I mean, just reach out to us. Again, we've got a great team on social media now. So any questions, look us up, send us a note, and hopefully we can answer all your questions very quickly.
Well, thank you. And so the final question for today, what is most inspiring to you today?
Wow, you're asking some really big questions. Okay, what's most inspiring to me? It's going to again sound like I'm repeating myself, but it really is the team. Like I look at our company, Cardamundi, right, our parent organization, and their strive and drive towards entertainment solutions. That inspires me. Like I love having excellence in leadership, excellence in vision. So from a business perspective, knowing that we're supported by Cardamundi, knowing that they're investing in us because we are constantly adding on additional equipment and they're investing that capex in us to help us expand and grow. I think it's really about just the ownership of Cardamundi, the leadership of Cardamundi, and the fact that they see this as a very long-term um, of vision, right? That the 8 generations of the people who own us, all they care about is passing it on to the next generation. So for me, I'm just very proud to be a part of that. And that inspires me from a, a job, right? It inspires me for what my role is here. Um, but I'm also just inspired by the rich culture and history that we have. So again, maybe this is a little insular because I'm talking about just my own personal experience inside of the company. But I think though that what we've built here, this community and culture that we've built across all these different nations, also inspires me to really know, even though I've lived in multiple countries and traveled all over the world, that we're all really part of this global community and will continue to operate that way. And if I can be a little part of that global community, I find that very inspiring as well. But being surrounded by like minded people,
Hmm.
this is what powers me.
Yeah, absolutely. And really having that cohesion within the group and even brainstorming with one another moves mountains. So I love it. So this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your story and learning more about United States Playing Card Company and of course Cardamundi because before today I don't know if I ever even knew about them. So thank you for sharing about the group. And thank you all for, of course, watching today and learning more from Craig because he really had some really great tips. So come back, save this show, and continue to watch it again and again because we all need some of those insights and to remind ourselves about community as well. So, of course, like and subscribe so you can get more whenever we have more conversations drop because we want you to get those notifications, of course, just like this one. And none of them will top Craig, of course. So, this was a great conversation. I love hearing about the rich history. So, of course, thanks to everyone who joined today. We appreciate you, Craig. Very, very thank you. And we appreciate you and being here. And thanks for moving to our wonderful city of Cincinnati.
Proud, honored, and happy to be here.
Well, thank you.